What up? We're back. It's the next day.
It's tomorrow.
We got
it's today though.
we had to do a part 2 of this podcast because we got cut off last night. So
It's
we're
all
back
good,
again.
It's morning time, so it's like perfect.
Only collected 3 terabytes of data.
I was talking about if 3 roles in the hemp industry that you can kind of take on. The first one being the farmer,
Right.
the second one being
The broker.
yeah, and the third one being
The artisan or the manufacturer.
Yep. Say that kind of the 3 roles in this industry is based on love of either, number 1, if you're the farmer, you have the love of the plant.
Yep.
Number 2, if you're the broker, you have the love of people.
Right.
And then number 3, if you are the manufacturer,
It's the love of the craft.
the love of the craft.
Yeah.
And so whichever category you fall into, that's kind of where you need to start in your career in hemp. And so to finish off with the farmer, the love of the plant, I think the main important thing that you need to have is a qualified farm with all the equipment and water rights, and have a way to make seeds. Otherwise you're gonna have to buy seeds and it's gonna be like $100,000. And it's a little bit too much startup cost for a lot of us out there. But if you have the $100,000, get the seeds and go that route. So that's farming. I don't know what else I need to say about farming. You know,
We talked about farming a little bit last night.
Behind you.
The watering rights.
having the farmer, the equipment, the labor. I mean, you're
labor.
looking at probably $40,000 in labor for a 20-acre farm, plus $60,000 in seedlings. So $100,000 up front for a 20-acre farm. If you're going to do cash up front, that's why it's important to have a fem seed project at a greenhouse that you're doing, a team of farmers, and a lot of partnerships are needed to do farming, you know. And I've learned that the hard way, trying to do it solo. You can't do it solo. It's too much work. You need too many parts, too much tractor equipment, too much labor.
Yeah.
You have to have a huge team. So that kind of covers that. And then why don't you talk about the second role?
Yeah, the brokering. So I think, you know, for brokering, it's really more about kind of thinking critically about the market, analyzing the market, and then just trying to connect the dots, you know, for people. So one of the stories that I shared with Eric during this trip is the story about Steve Stout and how he helped broker a deal for Will Smith for Men in Black, right? So they got the movie deal, of course, and then after that, they got the soundtrack too, which was great. You know, you want the soundtrack, you got the movie deal, and then, but what's really interesting about it is that they also got a deal on the glasses, right? Those Men in Black glasses, those are
love those
iconic.
glasses.
Yeah, they're classic.
They're
It's
so
like
iconic.
timeless, right? You can't go wrong with them. So basically what happened is they brokered a deal. They brokered a deal on the glasses, and how it ended up working out is that Will Smith made a significant amount more money on the glasses deal versus the soundtrack even.
I love that. And it's all thanks to the broker
Right.
who thought that idea up,
Yeah.
and Will Smith didn't.
Correct.
You know, and look, they both became super millionaires off of the broker's deal with the sunglasses.
Yeah, so that's just one example, you know, that's just one example of like how you can be a broker in any industry really, is like, you know, you look at it and you got to think. I guess it's technically, you know, we haven't talked about it yet. The third one is like the artisan or the manufacturer, you know? And that's where you've got to love the craft, because you're going to be working with your hands, or you're going to be working with a machine, or you're going to be working with, you know, I don't know, robots, I guess.
Yep. Manufacturing equipment.
manufacturing stuff.
Eventually,
You know?
when you scale, you're going to have robots.
I mean, you're
Unless
talking about
unless you're doing it all handmade.
the nitty gritty. That's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? The nitty gritty stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah, that is really nitty gritty. Peeling a label off is nitty gritty. It's like your fingernails get all. Ugh.
Yeah. Or like, you know, building boxes.
Yeah.
Building, you know,
Packaging. Designing a label is nitty gritty. You got to have passion for design,
Yeah.
or you got to hire a designer, pay them.
Hopefully, I mean, for the people that are looking into that role, I think it's critical that they do, or they either have a natural inclination towards design, or they have a passion for it.
Yeah, like I have a passion for it, not really a skill.
It's gotta drive them in some way. You know, design has to drive them. They have to be like, you know, design driven. And willing to put in the time that it takes to you know, kind of help you know, the farmer and the broker make that dream a reality.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because it takes all three.
Yeah, you're really right.
Wow, that's beautiful right there. Can you Yeah, the other thing that we talked about yesterday was just being able to create value and what that means, and kind of what we were talking about is if you just kind of see areas where people need help, you know, you just kind of like observe.
Yeah.
And then you see like, oh, that looks like it's troublesome, or it's like, you know, there's trouble over there, or somebody needs help, you know?
Yep.
And you start kind of troubleshooting real quick, boom, 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 troubleshoot. And then all of a sudden you find that there's like this thing that you could do to help.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do that.
Yeah.
You know, you don't ask permission.
Mm-hmm.
You just make it happen.
Yep.
And then by doing that, if you're doing that constantly, you're just kind of like throwing it out there, boom, 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 create value. That's creating value.
Mm-hmm.
Is like literally helping people. And when you do that, the doors just open.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Well, for me, it's not even, it goes beyond the business.
Mm-hmm.
It actually goes beyond the business because, I mean, of course, yeah, you got to think about the business too, right? I mean, you have to, but like, if you think about the great businesses, like just, I don't know, one example that comes to mind right off the top of my head, and I'm not endorsing Jack Dorsey or like, you know, anything that he does, but I do, my understanding is that when they started Square, you know, there was no like, how are we going to monetize this business? It was just like, this is a need, you know, people have to be able to like transfer money, and they don't want to have to pay, you know, a brokerage fee.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to have to pay fees to be able to do it. So like, let's just figure out how we can help them transfer money, and then we'll figure out how to monetize it later.
Yeah.
So at some point you think about that. But when I'm talking about creating value, you know, you're doing it for different reasons. Like Hemp Infinite, right, is a great name because I think one of the, like, there's kind of 4 pillars to creating value, if you will. There's you have to reject passivity. So easy to be passive,
mm-hmm.
right? Something happens and it's like, oh, what are you gonna do now? You got to overcome, right?
Yeah.
Rejecting passivity, that's one. Number 2, you have to accept responsibility. It's just part of it.
Mm-hmm. Gotta be an owner, take ownership of either your deal that you're putting together, or the product you're putting together, or the farm that you're putting together. It's gotta be yours.
Right. Yeah. And then, so that's 2. Then you have to invest eternally. And that's where I think you know, it's so important to see beyond the business, because if you're doing it from a place of love, truly, it's not yours, right? It's beyond you.
Yeah.
And I mean, who can go against love?
No one. Love is undefeated.
So then the last one, so we talked about rejecting passivity, we talked about accepting responsibility, investing eternally.
Just one more.
You got to lead courageously.
Lead courageously.
You have to be willing to, like, you know, sometimes it can be, you got to, like, be willing to be the one to take a stand.
Sometimes you gotta be the one to fall on some swords too, for the rest of the industry, no matter what,
100%.
what your role is, even as a broker, even as a farmer, even as a manufacturer, we're in uncharted territory. You gotta be ready to jump on a sword for the rest of the
Squad,
industry,
for everybody,
for
the world, literally for your community. You know, if you don't have skin in the game, you don't have anything.
It's a good note to tune out on. Man,
thanks for having me on, bro.
It's a great podcast, George. Thank you for doing podcast number 5. These beautiful people, Instagram, YouTube, BitChute, Dropspace, WeTube. I'm going on all platforms, baby.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
So yeah, tune into the next one. Thank you. And hopefully this podcast inspires you to hop in the industry and lead with love and lead courageously, you know? Tune in next time.